Welcome back to the Crypto Bot channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is getting extremely close to breaking out from this new bullish pattern, which could set up a massive bullish price target, as the price of Bitcoin is now running into the final area of resistance before new all-time highs, as we just have massive Bitcoin news today coming in over the last few hours and over the last one day, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside the price of Ethereum still forming this bullish pattern, getting closer towards a breakout, while the price of Solana, XRP, and Chainlink are all bouncing from key short-term support. So I'll be talking about all of that and so much more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before we take a look at the Bitcoin charts today, we need to talk about the crypto and financial news today, because of course, just yesterday, we had the Federal Reserve decision on interest rates, where they basically kept interest rates the same, so no change in interest rates, which was the expected outcome. And of course, I talked about that over the last couple of days and shared this right here in real time over on my Twitter in a matter of seconds from this being released. And so as soon as this happened, within the following minutes, we didn't really see anything major in the price of Bitcoin, because this was the expected outcome, very neutral for Bitcoin and crypto. But as I explained over the last couple of days, roughly half an hour, give or take, after the rate decision gets announced, we have the Jerome Powell press conference, where basically the boss of the Federal Reserve, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, speaks about what could be coming next, for example. And one of the reporters actually asked him about Bitcoin and crypto, and he actually said banks are perfectly able to serve crypto customers. And then of course he talked about some risks involved, but basically he showed that he's open to Bitcoin and crypto. And so as soon as he was saying this live in the press conference, the boss of the Federal Reserve of the United States talking positively about Bitcoin and crypto, of course that helped pump the price of Bitcoin and crypto. As I said right here as it was happening, this is bullish for crypto. And so this was potentially just one of the reasons as to why we saw a decent bullish move over the last one day or so. And of course, if you're following me over on my Twitter, you got this real-time update as it was happening. And just be aware of any scam accounts over on Twitter, or really any social media trying to copy my profile. Always, my profile are the ones with the verified checkmark, as you can see. And essentially all of my social medias are in the links down below this video, in the description and in the pinned comment. So any other account that you see is using my name or picture that's not verified and is not linked below these YouTube videos, it's probably a scammer. But with that being said, getting into some other Bitcoin news today, and this came out over the last one day. Essentially, it's the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund posting their reports for 2024 and changes that they made to the fund, and posting their profits that they made during 2024. And in this latest release, essentially, we just found out that the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund actually dumped roughly $500 million into MicroStrategy shares. That's right, they bought around $500 million US worth of MicroStrategy shares just in 2024. Because we could see on this chart right here, it's behind my face cam, but you could see over the years, they have actually held a few $1 million here and there of MicroStrategy shares. But then in the year of 2024, you could see here compared to 2023, in the year of 2024, this absolutely exploded to the upside, basically the amount that the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund actually holds. And so at the end of 2023, they were holding roughly $70 to $71 million worth of MicroStrategy shares. But by the end of 2024, they were holding over $500 million, around $514 million US worth of MicroStrategy stock. And of course, if you've been in Bitcoin or crypto, even just for around a few weeks or a few months, you'll know about MicroStrategy and their involvement with Bitcoin. But in case you're new to all of this, essentially MicroStrategy over the last few years has been one of the largest buyers of Bitcoin out of basically anyone in the world. They hold billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin under MicroStrategy. And so with the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund buying a lot of MicroStrategy shares, they're basically indirectly buying Bitcoin, because as they own shares of MicroStrategy, they essentially indirectly own Bitcoin, because once again, MicroStrategy holds a lot of Bitcoin. And if you didn't know much about the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund, you might be thinking, well, this isn't really any big news because it's just some fund over in Norway. But it's not just some fund. It is the largest sovereign wealth fund in the world. That is right, the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund has over $1.7 trillion worth of assets. That's right, 1.7 trillion US dollars worth of assets that they actually own, not just manage. And some people may point towards, say, BlackRock, for example, that might manage, let's just say, around $10 trillion worth of assets, give or take. But BlackRock does not actually own those assets. They just manage those assets on behalf of investors, whereas this Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund actually owns all of these assets right here. This is the assets that they own. So almost 2 trillion US dollars worth of assets in this singular fund. And so obviously now you know why this is massive news for Bitcoin, because we have the largest sovereign wealth fund in the world buying massive amounts of MicroStrategy shares. Now, obviously $500 million is a large amount, but it's still relatively small compared to the total size of the fund, obviously. But if you simply look at the change compared to 2023, they're having a massive change towards MicroStrategy here, basically putting a lot more towards MicroStrategy compared to previous years. And so this, of course, shows you that the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund is open to not only MicroStrategy, but clearly open towards Bitcoin. If they're buying a lot of MicroStrategy shares, then obviously they're open to Bitcoin, because MicroStrategy is basically a Bitcoin company. And on top of this bullish news over the last one day and this bullish news over the last one day, we also saw this bullish news over the last one day for Bitcoin, but really by extension for overall crypto, but specifically Bitcoin with this one, because essentially an article came out over the last one day on the Financial Times talking about how the head of the Czech central bank actually wants to buy billions of euros worth of Bitcoin. That is right, we're now talking about possible central banks accumulating Bitcoin, and this did indeed come from the head of the central bank, as I just said. And as we can see here, we've got politicians in the United States now talking about a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and foreign countries buying Bitcoin, the largest sovereign wealth fund in the world buying MicroStrategy shares, indirectly buying Bitcoin, the boss of the Federal Reserve of the United States talking bullish about Bitcoin and crypto. And all of this really happens just over the last 24 hours. So this is definitely some big news for Bitcoin and crypto just in the last one day, possibly helping with that bounce that we saw in the price of Bitcoin and crypto over the last one day. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today on this weekly time frame, technically we're still within a larger bull market. And of course, during these larger bull runs, we can see pullbacks and things like that along the way in the short term. But zooming out, looking at the bigger picture, we're still looking bullish. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, we're potentially on the edge of regaining some bullish momentum to continue that next major move towards the upside. And I've said that just recently here on the channel after around 1 to 2 months of mostly sideways price action, chopping around sideways. And so at least as of right now, things are still going to plan. Things are still basically repeating history compared to what we saw 1 year ago. We're still seeing very similar signals in all of these indicators right here. And if we're taking a look at this 4-day time frame, of course, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And on this weekly time frame, we still have a possible bearish divergence that is forming on the weekly time frame, which is something to pay attention to, but could likely start playing out maybe down the road, maybe in a few months from now, for example. Because as I've said a few times recently here on the channel, a likely scenario could be a new higher high in the price of Bitcoin, new all-time highs in the coming weeks or months, and then at some point, maybe in a few months from now, maybe mid-year or second half of the year, somewhere around there, obviously it's hard to say exactly when, but somewhere around there, we may see a secondary high like this, and then actually see the bull market start topping out as we make a new higher high in the price, while the RSI might still be sitting in lower highs in the weekly time frame here, in the weekly Bitcoin RSI. And so of course, if that happens, that will just extend this bearish divergence to make it even larger, and then maybe later in the year we might start topping out and entering into more of a bear market. So keep that in mind. That could be a likely scenario, and that's also based on the 4-year Bitcoin halving cycles. And if you want to actually trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally I take most of my crypto trades over on BTNX, so I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX links below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some exclusive rewards that are only available using that link. So for example, if you simply just click that link to make your account and then deposit $100, you get a $20 bonus. Or if you deposit $1,000, you get a $100 bonus straight into your new account. And then simply just by trading crypto on that account, you can get a brand new Apple Watch, Apple AirPods, or even up to a brand new iPhone 16 Pro Max simply just by trading crypto over on Bitfinex if you use the link below this video. Because remember, if you don't use that link, you cannot claim these exclusive rewards. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link below this video. And also, in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want Bitfinex, there is also Bybit as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bybit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. But with that being said, taking a look at this Bitcoin chart on the 8-hour time frame, and as of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is obviously further breaking out beyond this previous area right here, sitting in between around 101,000 to 103,000. And I said just yesterday, we're getting close towards a possible break of this level. And of course, with that bullish news over the last one day, that really helps the price of Bitcoin. And so as of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is actually testing basically the final significant area of resistance in the short term before new all-time highs. That is right. We have resistance in this area where we've previously rejected many times from, and that's sitting in between around 106,000 to 107,000. So keep in mind, we could still struggle quite a bit around that area. But if we ideally see candle closes above 107,000, actually confirming the breakout, then in that case, the all-time high is only just up here at around 109,000, give or take. And so it is quite likely that if we first confirm a breakout above this resistance, we will likely just simply head up towards the all-time high. And then maybe around there, we might find a bit of resistance at close to 109,000. But essentially, we're at all-time highs at that stage, and we'll likely head into new all-time highs once we basically break out above this resistance. But remember, as of recording this video, because we've not yet confirmed a breakout, we can still see little rejections from this resistance. So just keep in mind, we've not broken the resistance yet. And now, if we end up confirming a breakout above this resistance, not only would that be bullish simply because we're breaking resistance, it would also be bullish because that would activate this new bullish pattern on the daily Bitcoin chart, which is a cup and handle pattern. And at this stage, the formation phase for the cup and handle is pretty much completely formed, but it is not yet confirmed. I want to make that clear. As of right now, this is not confirmed and not playing out because we've not yet confirmed the breakout with a candle close above this neckline for the cup and handle pattern. And so essentially, we need to see ideally a daily candle close above this level right here, which is sitting at around 106,500. So essentially, I would wait for a breakout above around 107,000 to be more confident that we're really starting to break out towards the upside and activating this cup and handle pattern. And if we end up seeing that happening, if we first confirm the breakout above the neckline, then in that case, that would set up a bullish price target for this bullish pattern. And that price target would be sitting at around 121k to 122k, approximately right around there. And so measuring from the point of the breakout at around 106k to 107k up towards that price target at around 121 to 122k, that's around a 14 to 15% move towards the upside. And obviously that would mean breaking into new all-time highs. And so that could be a very likely scenario, a very realistic scenario for the price of Bitcoin potentially in the coming weeks if we first confirm the breakout. I want to make that extra clear. We've not yet fully confirmed this breakout here, so we could still reject from this level. But if we confirm the breakout above this resistance, that is when the price target will come into play. And so, of course, that sets up a possible trading opportunity where, for example, once we first confirm a breakout above the resistance, we could possibly place some sort of long position here and trade the move towards the upside. And then maybe around points of resistance, like close to 109,000, we might take some profits along the way as the price heads higher out of that long position. And then when it comes to limiting risk, when it comes to that trade right there, because we always need to talk about risk management when it comes to trading crypto, especially if we're trading with leverage. And so, for example, if we confirm the breakout, and then if we confirm a break back below around 106,000, then that would invalidate the breakout, invalidate the pattern, and invalidate the price target. And so that is the possible risk when it comes to the trade right here. If we enter the trade once we confirm the breakout and then we see a quick break to the downside, essentially that will be the point to just cut the losses there in order to avoid any further losses. So I'll use that to potentially place a stop loss just on the other side of the point of invalidation after we first confirm the breakout. And so that would be the worst case scenario for that long position. But of course, the best case scenario would be if we confirm the breakout, we enter the trade, and then the price simply just continues further towards the upside. And in that situation, personally, I like to move my stop loss at least up towards my entry, so at break even, but ideally moving my stop loss further and further into profits as the trade moves into profits, so that in the worst case scenario, if the price just crashes back down for whatever reason, that would hit the stop loss in profits and close the trade automatically in profits. And so as always, not personal financial advice, because I'm not a financial advisor and I don't know your personal financial situation. I'm just revealing a possible trading strategy, a very simple trading strategy, basically saying how we could potentially profit from a breakout move like this and a pattern like this. And once again, if you want to take any trades just like that in the price of any crypto, check out those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those extra bonuses using those links. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and we also have a lot of liquidity piling up just above 107,000. So this is a big thing to watch out for, and that could possibly cause a bit of a short squeeze. And for now, in the short term, is acting as a bit of a magnet for the price of Bitcoin, essentially pulling Bitcoin towards that area, because usually, not always, but usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where there's a lot of liquidity. And so, of course, we still have some liquidity at around 97K, give or take, but most of the liquidity, especially if we're looking at where's close to the price of Bitcoin, most of the liquidity is at around 107K to 108K, with some liquidity also at around 110K. And so those are the important levels to watch out for the price of Bitcoin. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is forming this falling wedge pattern, as I talked about in my last video just yesterday. And a falling wedge pattern statistically is a bullish pattern, because more often than not, it does break out towards the upside. Of course, it can break to the downside. It's just that is the less likely scenario for a falling wedge. But for now, we're still holding above this important area of support right here, sitting in between 3,000 to 3.1K, acting as strong support for now. And of course, we still have this descending line of resistance sitting at roughly around 3.3K. And we have this area of resistance in between 3430 to 3560, more resistance around 3.7K, and this major area of resistance in between 3.9K to 4.1K. So those are potential stopping points along the way towards the upside if we first confirm the breakout for the price of Ethereum. And as usual with a falling wedge pattern, if we first confirm the breakout above the descending line of resistance, that would activate the pattern, activate the price target for this pattern, which by the way, would be sitting at around $4,000 per Ethereum as the technical price target. But once again, I want to make it extra clear that that price target in this pattern only comes into play. It only activates if we first confirm a breakout at least above this line of resistance at around 3.3K. And so that also sets up another possible trading opportunity if we first confirm the breakout. Once again, we could possibly enter some sort of long position here, especially if we see some decent momentum and some follow through, and then maybe take some profits around some key levels of resistance along the way up. Not close the entire trade, but just take some profits around resistance is usually what I end up doing when it comes to long positions like this. But as always, not financial advice. I'm just revealing a possible trading strategy in order to profit from a pattern like this. And once again, if you want to trade those moves, links below to claim those extra bonuses. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at Solana on the 8-hour time frame, Solana is actually bouncing once again from this important area of support, sitting in between $220 to $225 approximately. And previously this was resistance, but recently has been acting as strong support. And of course, as I usually say, basically just follow the price of Bitcoin in order to expect what is most likely going to happen for a lot of the major altcoins. altcoins. So as Bitcoin had a decent little bounce over the last one day, a decent pump over the last one day, a lot of the major altcoins like Solana and Ethereum, for example, had similar movements. But despite this latest bounce from this important support, we still have resistance to the upside that we need to pay attention to. So first of all, we have this point of resistance at around $245 to $246, and above that level we have more resistance at around $260 and much more resistance at around $271 approximately. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the 4-hour time frame, XRP is still simply trading within this sideways price range between these levels of support and this area of resistance. So not a lot has changed over the last one day. We still have strong support at $3.04, more support at around $2.95, and significant area of support in between $2.60 to $2.70 approximately. And as for resistance, we have a strong area of resistance in between around $3.29 to $3.37, and also more resistance at around $3.20. But for now, and like I said recently here on the channel over the last couple of days or so, the price of XRP is somewhat lacking momentum to either direction. So we're not really overly bullish or overly bearish for the price of XRP, at least in the short term. Of course, when we're zooming out, looking at, say, the weekly time frame, we are within a larger bull market, but the short-term situation is lacking some momentum, relatively neutral in a sideways price range. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Chainlink on the 4-hour time frame, Chainlink is actually bouncing from this level of support where we have seen multiple bounces from over the last few weeks or so, and that's sitting in between around $22.20 to $22.30, so really right around just above $22 as major support. And we were forming a possible head and shoulders pattern here, as you can see, but over the last one day with that bounce in Bitcoin and a lot of the major altcoins, that really helped the price of Chainlink with a further bounce towards the upside. And as of right now, we're running into this area of resistance where we have previously rejected from, and that was sitting in between around $24.60 to $25.30. But if we see a breakout above $25.30, in that case, we have this area of resistance to watch out for, which is significant resistance for the price of Chainlink, and that's sitting in between around $26.20 to $27. So in order to flip much more bullish again, not just see these little short-term pumps here, but in order to expect potentially another massive bullish move like this, $27 is the level to break. But for now, we are possibly playing out a bit of a double bottom pattern here, also known as a W pattern. So if we're looking at the technical price target based on this being a double bottom pattern or a W pattern, that sets up a price target at around $26.40, right around these previous highs where we would likely find a lot of resistance. And so in other words, that is a price target to watch out for right now, which is actively playing out right now. But remember, we still have resistance in this area, basically just underneath $25.30. So we could still struggle around here, but once we see a breakout above $25.30, we'll likely head up towards around $26.40 and then find more resistance around there. And remember, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, just check out those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those extra bonuses using those links. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto for yourself, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, you can profit from all of that price action by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.